Hello and welcome to the Universe and to a brand new video all about Time Lord Victorious, BBC's multimedia project which is one massive Doctor Who story spread across books, audios, games, comics, and now in the official Doctor Who magazine. So before I dive into the latest news, you can check out previous updates, discussions and breakdowns of the project so far in my Time Lord Victorious playlist, and stay up to date by subscribing to this channel. And stay another step ahead by becoming a Patreon, supporting the channel and getting 24-hour early access to a selection of videos, plus many more rewards. Now, onto the news as the 9th Doctor and Rose Tyler make their return. That's right, the 2005 team, responsible for bringing Doctor Who to the 21st century, are back. And this time they are leading Doctor Who magazine's comic story starting in issue 556 in September. The alien from the north and the teenager from the Powell estate team up in the story titled Monstrous Beauty, which will begin with a double-length chapter heading a special supplement magazine in that same issue. The story will be penned by Doctor Who magazine's regular comics writer Scott Gray. The artist is John Ross, who recently illustrated the 13th Doctor story Mistress of Chaos, with colour art by James O'Freddy and lettering by Roger Langridge. Now, Scott dropped a few hints in the latest issue saying, the 9th Doctor and Rose find themselves in a place where no TARDIS is ever supposed to go. The Dark Times, an ancient era forbidden to all Time Lords. They're soon swept up in a war with one of the greatest enemies of the Doctor's people, the Great Vampires. The Doctor discovers that not all the stories surrounding Time Lord history match up with reality, but some of the dangers are actually worse than the myths. Rose was the last human in the end of the world, but in this story she's the first human, and that turns out to be a very bad thing. So lots of info there, so let's break it down. So we know the Dark Times are an era of history in the Doctor Who universe where creation was baby-faced and some of the scariest creatures reigned supreme. The Great Vampires are a deadly race who went to war with the Time Lords of Gallifrey who were under the command of Razalon. The Gallifreyans used bow ships, spacecraft that can be seen on the very first cover art for Time Lord Victorious. These were used as weapons which fired huge bolts of steel into a vampire's heart, as smaller projectiles or energy weapons were not effective. In the end, all of the vampires were killed except the King Vampire who escaped into E-space. Now, given the cryptic description of Rose's place in the story, could we see her become one of the first vampires with no life form and humanoid form around in those times? She would actually become the template for vampirism itself, only for the Doctor to try and save her at any cost. Scott Gray also spoke in Doctor Who magazine saying, "I'm really excited to get a chance to do a 9th Doctor and Rose story. John, Ross and I did a comic strip in 2006 annual, which was Mr. Nobody, and we had a fantastic time with those characters. There's real energy to their relationship. I was sorry they left the mag so soon, and it's been terrific revisiting them now." I can't help but agree. It's one of those weird what-if questions. What would the show be like if Eccleston stayed? Part of me wished we got more stories with the no-nonsense Doctor, but at the same time, with his regeneration at the end of Series 1 providing a brilliant cliffhanger and wrapping up the perfect intro into the series for new viewers, it may have been a decision that helped the show more than we'll ever know. The 9th Doctor featured in the comics in issues 355 to 364 of the magazine's run so far. The chemistry between the two characters gives us one of the best TARDIS teams of the modern era and one that is often underrated. Scott continued within the small article commenting on producer James Goss's vision. "I've had a great time throwing ideas around with James. His brief was 9th Doctor, Rose, vampires. Monstrous Beauty can be read as a standalone adventure, but if you look further into the Time Lord Victorious storyline, you'll see how it connects with the other strands." Now, the idea of enjoying either a book, an audio or a comic as a standalone or as a much grander picture is what makes the Time Lord Victorious idea work so much for me, and hopefully it will be as brilliant as the hype is making it out to be. Now, Doctor Who magazine is available to buy on digital or printed via the magazine's website or most magazine retailers. I can't wait to see the comic launch in September, and until then I'll aim to keep you up to date with the latest Time Lord Victorious news. With all that said, thank you very much for watching this super quick video. If you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like, comment below and subscribe. If you want to experience some bonus rewards, then be sure to check out my Patreon page, like Time Lord tier supporter Stefan Pastran, who gets to see a selection of my videos 24 hours before anyone else, receives a shout out and a brand new downloadable poster every month. If they sound like things that you'd be interested in, then check out my Patreon page and help the channel grow. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.